Hey guys, it's Aaliyah with Open Doors, Open Hearts blog, and today I am going to share with you some of our goals for 2023. I know it's a little bit late, but ultimately I decided that I wanted to encourage somebody who maybe has some big goals for 2023 and they're a little bit afraid of it, or maybe you have the exact same goals as we have and you've heard that it's impossible to do that, it's too much money, you're never going to be able to afford it, it's too much work. So I wanted to share some encouragement. For this video, I'm going to share with you quick highlights, like what our goals are, and then I think it's really important to share with you our why and why we are doing what we're doing. And I also think that it's important that you establish a why for your goals. I think whether it's like outside voices or voices in your head, when you start hearing those negative voices and those things telling you that you can't do it and to just quit and throw in the towel, having a really good why is going to help you push through those hard times. At least it has for me when I have set goals for myself and I've wanted to quit. Knowing why I want to do something always helps me push through on those hard days. Our big goals for 2023 are all surrounding food. We are trying to reduce to zero our amount of consumed processed carbs and sugars. We are trying to grow and preserve as much food from our garden as possible. The ultimate goal would be that our garden and the things that we preserve from our garden would sustain us for an entire year and that we wouldn't have to go to the grocery store for any of our produce. Okay, so how are we going to reduce the amount of processed carbs and processed sugars that we consume at our house? So I will caveat this by saying we did go out to eat on Friday. Some friends asked us to go out to eat with them, and so we did. We also have eaten at other people's houses, and I don't say no, you can only eat the peppers and the carrots and you can't have the bun, and none of that. Like when we are not at our house, we are eating like regular people eat, but when we're at our house, we are trying to just reduce it to zero as much as possible. So part of that is I have a sourdough starter that I've been using for a little over a year, and I would say in the last month I have used it more than I did in the first year of its entire life, as far as like what I'm actually baking with it. I think in the first year of its life I would basically feed it, let it set, and I'd put it in the refrigerator, and I really only use it like once a week for something. So as an example, we're gonna have hamburgers for dinner on Sunday. So instead of going to the grocery store and just buying hamburger buns, I'm using my sourdough starter and I'm gonna make hamburger buns ready to go for dinner on Sunday. Another example is we do not buy the cereals or the oatmeals from the grocery store. I make homemade granola, and I've made a few different varieties. And then I also make homemade like the old-fashioned oats, and we just add different things to them to make them have different flavors. Again, it's not zero. We use maple syrup, we use honey. I still have my jar of sugar. It's not like I'm dumping it down the drain or something like that. We use it a little bit, but we're just really trying to reduce the amount of processed sugars and processed carbs that we consume as a regular part of our diet. Now, as far as harvesting from the garden and the garden sustaining us for as long as it can, we started seedlings like we usually do, but this year we did the math and we figured out how many tomato plants we think we're gonna need, how many pepper plants, cucumber plants. We did a whole bunch of winter squash this year that we would normally buy from the grocery store, but we're gonna grow it ourselves. So it's really exciting, like starting this journey, and especially for the garden part of it. I think we're going to find very quickly that we did not maybe grow as many seedlings as we needed to in order to have as many like successful adult plants. There's always kind of like a fail rate, ones that just don't germinate, or some that are a little weaker than others. There's definitely a lot of things that we're gonna have to like change and learn and adjust as the years go on. But I think that's kind of the fun thing about goals. You set your goal and hopefully you reach your goal, but if you don't reach your goal, one, you learn something, and two, you can just make adjustments in order to continue on and finally reach your goal. So those are our big goals. In the last 3 months, we have done a really, really good job. I have made all of our bread products from my sourdough starter. We have not bought any cereal. We have not bought crackers. I've made crackers. They didn't turn out fantastic. Everyone liked them, but they were not like crackers. So I'm practicing and learning how to do crackers. So all kinds of things, not just crackers. Sandwich bread, I've made 4 loaves of sandwich bread, and the 4th loaf is way better than the 1st loaf, but still I think I have like room to learn and room to grow. Why are we sacrificing time and energy in the kitchen when we could very easily just run to the grocery store and it be done in an instant? All I have to do is scan it across the scanner, you know? Our girls are our why. I mean, our personal health is also part of it, but we want to set our kids up to be as healthy as possible when they are grown and leaving the house. We learned a couple years ago that food has a huge impact on not just our like physical health. I always felt like food just had an impact on your physical health, but we learned through the adoption process that food can also have an impact on your mental health, and that it can actually help heal different things to help with the trauma that our adopted daughter has experienced. And so that actually, I think, kind of like started us on this food journey and learning how we can use food to heal our bodies. So when I start to have those voices in my head telling me that this is too hard, and waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to make a dough, or staying up until 11 o'clock at night to bake it isn't worth it, I just remember like the reason I'm doing this is for them, and for me that's a big enough why to get my butt up out of bed, walk out to the kitchen, and start doing what needs to be done in order for us to be able to have those hamburger buns or those rolls or the English muffins or whatever the thing is that I'm making that day for our meals. This is like more of a point to anybody who maybe is thinking about going on this same journey that we are going on. One of the voices that I have heard over and over again is that not only is it like a huge time investment, but I've also been told that it's a huge financial investment. And I wanted to say that after doing it for 3 months, it does not have to be a huge financial investment. We don't even have anything growing in our garden yet. We are still 100% buying all of our produce from the grocery store. But buying the seasonal things, and like, so we kind of like are practicing and pretending like, what produce would we have in the basement stored in January that we would eat, and those are the meals, and then in February, and now in March. And so buying in-season produce definitely has helped us. But then also, if you're willing to put forth a little bit of effort and a little bit of time then you can save yourself financially. Our monthly budget hasn't reduced like drastically. Like, I'm not gonna say it'll be like, it's gone down by half. Like, it hasn't gone down by half, but it has gone down. And like I said, we're not even using any produce from the garden yet. So I'm really excited to see what our grocery budget looks like in July, August, and September, when harvest is coming and we're no longer going to the grocery store and buying as much of the produce that we are right now. And the last thing I want to say is, if you're thinking about embarking on this journey and you're thinking about the time commitment and what that looks like for your family, I want to encourage you with this. So I have been spending a lot of time in the kitchen, and I'm going to tell you a couple stories about the girls that will tell you how much time I've been spending in the kitchen. But then I hope that those stories encourage you that just because you're spending time in the kitchen with like the food and preparation and all of that doesn't mean that somehow you're not spending quality time with your kids. Like by sacrificing the convenience of the grocery store, you are then going to be sacrificing time with your kids. So, story number one is my middle daughter was talking to me, and she had been downstairs in the basement playing, and she wanted me to tie an apron around her waist because she sees me wear my apron. And so I tied the apron around her, and she told me that when she grew up, she wanted to be a baker like mommy. I am not a baker. Like, I don't get paid to bake. Like, it's not my job. I mean, it's my job. It's my job to cook for my family as a homemaker. But you know what I'm saying? It's not my job. But she sees me as a baker. And when she grows up, she wants to bake and cook like mommy. I have not had her ask me as much ever as in the past 3 months if she could help me in the kitchen. They have like allotted special TV time, and in the middle of her TV time that she knows will be coming to an end, she will leave the TV, come find me in the kitchen, and ask me if there's something that she can do to help me in the kitchen. The other fun story that I have is, as I've been experimenting with new recipes and, either I'm trying multiple different recipes for the same thing, like the sandwich bread, or maybe I'm using the same recipe, but I'm kind of like tweaking it a little bit to change it so that it works better for us. Once I find the recipe that our family really likes, I take that and I type it up, I print it, and I put it in our little cookbook up there. And one day I was putting a new recipe in the cookbook, and my oldest daughter walked up to me and she said, "Mom, when I grow up and I move out, will you give me a copy of all of those recipes?" So anyhow, I just wanted to encourage you that the legacy that you leave for your children is not dictated or limited by your using the conveniences around you. Like, the girls and I love going to the garden together. The girls and I love cooking in the kitchen together. We love baking in the kitchen together. Anyhow, I just want you to know that, and I don't want you to feel discouraged in this journey that you're on. And maybe you're not thinking about food, maybe you're thinking about something else. But whatever your goals are, I hope that you find encouragement in this video, and I hope that you realize that you're not alone, and you do have a cheerleader who's cheering you on, who wants you to reach those goals. I hope that you like this video, and if you're new to my channel, I hope that you hit the subscribe button down below. I'll see you next time. Bye.